Mike Zarnock, one of the most well-known members of the Hot Wheels community, wrote an article in 2021 giving his thoughts on the top 10 most valuable Hot Wheels cars. At the top of the list is the pink rear-loading Beach Bomb. It was a pre-production piece built in 1969, which was too narrow to work properly with the Hot Wheels supercharger. I loved the supercharger as a kid. The narrow body never went into production. Mike states that at the time of the article, one was known to have sold in the past for $72,000 and could sell today for well over $150,000. I was aware that die-cast reproduction kits of this casting were available, and when you find them, they're not cheap. But I wanted to do one for the annual Paint It Pink challenge for breast cancer awareness. I did some searching and discovered that while Bright Vision had long been sold out of their castings, they did still have a B quality body kit available at a price of about half of what their good one had sold for. I decided to order one and give it a try. The base on this is really beautiful. It's really well done, but I did clean it up a little bit. I did some test fitting, which I should always do. And there were just some little areas of flashing that were keeping it from seating the way I wanted it to. So I did a little filing here or there, not much, and then it fit perfectly. It fit okay before. I just wanted it to be a little bit better. They do suggest using some axles off of original red lines as possibilities. Since this is a Repop, I decided I was just going to make my own axles and use my 3D printed bearings. So that's what I did. They do give you the bearing style wheels to go with this. It's just the axle that's missing. So this seemed like the perfect way to go. I wasn't concerned that it wasn't using an original axle because, again, it's a Repop. So I did you've seen me do this before. The only difference is I had to wedge those axles in there. And that's why you saw me sanding it before, just to straighten it out a little bit. And it's one of those things that I might have wanted to drill out looking back at it. And not to say that I can't even do that in the future, to be honest with you. Since it's screwed together, I did not use rivets or glue to hold this together in the finished product. But once I had the wheels on, then here's the part where I just had to press those axles into place. And that worked fine. Off camera, I did hit it with a touch of super glue. The body does have imperfections, which Bright Vision does disclose. So it wasn't any secret to me that this thing was going to look rough when it arrived. And as you can see, there's some plating missing. The plating itself is pretty rough. It's not something that you could Spectraflame over easily. I don't believe you could even polish it up to get it to that point. I did use my vise and a pin vise to start the holes for the screws to hold it together. These are 172s, the tiny ones. I put a black one in there, but you'll see me swap that out here in a second. I put longer screws in it just for the time I'm working on it. But those are tiny posts, but if you've done any work on these, you're familiar with the tiny posts, and it just takes a little patience, nerves of steel for a few minutes, and you get it done. The body, like I said, does need cleaning, and I filed the heck out of it, trying to get it as smooth as possible. As you know, I rattle can everything, or at least I'm still rattle canning everything. And that's what I'm doing on this one. So I knew I wasn't going to Spectraflame it, and this casting, there was no way I could see getting it to a point where I could polish it to a shine that would be acceptable to just put a translucent coat on. So there you see it after I've cleaned it up, and it's somewhat deceiving in the picture. It's still not all that smooth. It's a lot smoother than it was. But I clean it off and using IPA like I do all the time. Again, it's a lot better than it was. And I wasn't going to plate it, but I hit it with primer. And I was pretty happy with it at this point. I do end up sanding that down quite a bit. And then I hit that with a Duplicolor base coat, which I love. Sanded that first base coat down. And then once I get this even smoother, and that's what the work was. I wanted to keep all the detail, like the little round things behind each wheel on the body. Obviously handles, that kind of stuff. I didn't want to lose any of the detail, but I wanted this thing smooth. I wanted it to look good when it was done. So once that was ready, it was the metal cast base coat again, Tamiya PS40 translucent pink, and then Worth clear lacquer spray over all of that. And it turned out pretty well. I was happy with the way this worked. The translucent pink turned out really well. And at this point, I'm pretty much finished with the build, but I want to step aside for a second and talk about Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. I know this build is for breast cancer awareness, but during the year, I contributed to and became aware of Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, in particular their oncology work. And I decided, even though this is a breast cancer awareness build, Children's Cancer Month is September. And I hope you don't hate me, but I'm making a donation to the Children's Hospital this year. And I'm calling attention to that charity with this build. I don't sell my pink builds. I've chosen to keep them each year and instead make a donation to a charity. In prior years, I've donated to Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York. And I will be putting both of these charities' names down below in the description of this video, as well as donating to both of them for this year. But the one I really want to call attention to is Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, because they are doing very good work in children's oncology. And I think it's important to be aware of them. So now it's time to put all the pieces together. These pieces really are wonderful that Bright Vision created here. The glass is perfect, the interior is perfect, the wheels are perfect, the surfboards are perfect. It all fits together wonderfully well. Like I said, I did clean up a little bit of flashing on the base, and I did file a little bit on the body just to improve the fit a little bit. I did have to drill it and tap it to add screws to it to hold it together. But it's a beautiful little kit. And you know, the price, yes, it's expensive, but it's not expensive. It wasn't that terrible, especially when you look at individual parts. You know, like a glass, just for a red line replacement glass, can be $10. So when you put that into perspective, this thing is almost cheap. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I hope everyone watching this is too. It shows, at least to me, I think that it goes to show you that, you know, yeah, while it might be nice to have an airbrush and people who use airbrushes and things to create these, you can get by rattle canning these things and get an acceptable result. You don't have to really spend a lot of money to get started in this. The only thing that is keeping anyone from getting started in these little things is maybe not having a can of rattle can paint. But you can do it on a shoestring sometimes if you really want to. And you know, there's part of me that does these with the rattle can because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to clean an airbrush. And yeah, I know it's not that tough. I've had people show me how to clean an airbrush, and it's not that bad, but And like I said, I'm lazy. And I think I'm getting results that I'm happy with also. So I don't know. Maybe you feel differently if you look at these, but I'm pretty darn happy with this little build. So I'd also like to take a moment to thank the Four Horsemen for taking over the Paint It Pink Challenge this year. Since we shut down the Three Blind Mice, we weren't going to be available to host this year. And they picked it up, which is fantastic, because it's a wonderful cause. And so thanks to them. Thanks to all of you for watching these videos. Please check out the charity links in the description of this video, and consider donating. And I hope you like how this turned out. There's some glamour shots coming up ahead. Everyone, thank you so much for watching these videos. Stay safe and healthy out there. And I'll catch you in the next one.